The Acolyte episode 5. So, this is a continuation of the previous episode, and I feel like maybe the the past one wouldn't have gone over so poorly if they had just combined them into a longer episode. I mean, I, the runtime is like what 40, 50 minutes, maybe an hour. They really could have combined them, and it would have made more sense for pacing because the previous episode, they were just a lot of establishing shots and a lot of walking, to the location, and they reused the sets and everything in this episode. So I don't know why the choice was made to divide it into. So this one was mostly action. Um, they're still on Khofar, uh, where they were all looking for Kalnaka, and May was looking for Kalnaka, and then the Jedi party came to look for May, and the uh, Khmer, Khmer was there with May, right? So it starts out with Khmer, the Sith Lord, unceremoniously, just taking out most of the Jedi scouting party, and and then kind of narrowing it down to some of the named characters, and there was there was a lot of action, to the point where I was a little fatiguing, and it's good to see like some lightsaber battles in a Star Wars show. This is a good thing. I just again, like with most of the show, there was some good things in it that I just don't feel like were handled very well. Um, there's some expanded universe lore that was brought into this episode as well. Uh, so the Sith Lord's helmet is made out of cortosis, which is a very rare metal, usually only found in trace amounts on two planets that are in the known Star Wars canon. It was removed from canon, but now it's brought back in because it's been introduced in a show. But it was very toxic in its pure form, even though like in some of the lore, there was actually like somebody that like had it kind of skin grafted as a way to protect himself from lightsabers. But this is the first time we're seeing it work in live action. There was a point where he headbutts a lightsaber to disable it temporarily, and it's a very rare and very valuable metal, and it's interesting to think about who it might have belonged to. It's such a letdown that the story and the dialogue and the character development are so poor in this show because there's obviously like interesting and hardworking people behind the scenes, like as silly as a big jungle set was. It's it set a nice stage for the lightsaber battles. And they didn't just film in a normal forest, so it looked a bit more interesting with like interesting looking trees and everything. Even though there's like one point where they slice the trees with the lightsabers and have them fall, and it's like you you put all the time into planning this, and they fell in the wrong direction. So it was like you put a bunch of effort into something to sell it that just ended up being a distraction. It's just a shame. Like it just feels like a terribly mismanaged project instead of like a cohesive, exciting big budget show like you would expect it to be. I mean, considering like the pedigree of the IP, the company behind it, the budget it had, it feels really really poorly done in a lot of situations. And I I'm just disappointed because it has potential. I'm interested to still watch it. I was very let down by the previous episode, and with this one, I appreciate the fact that they're willing to take some pretty big risk, but I didn't take it the same way that I've seen some of the discussion about it, like you know um obviously spoilers, but so Jackie, um First, there's this struggle between Jackie and May where she attempts to arrest her. And it's interesting to kind of see the power creep between characters because and when you see them kind of fighting each other, you have an idea of their different power levels, right? Like Jackie manages to overpower May, who is trained by Khmer's what um and he is able to take on like a Jedi Master soul. And so, like, the Yord character ended up being weirdly strong. He's I suppose a full Jedi, but not quite a master. But he was able to hold his own really well against Khmer and kind of the fighting, and then just unceremoniously had his neck snapped. And because like they really want to establish that the Sith character doesn't fight by like the Jedi honor code. And that's kind of a reoccurring point in this episode. Um, there was some stupid moments, of course. There's this one part where where Osha takes her droid's flashlight and shoves it on the on Khmer's back to attract umbral moss. They shown in the previous episode, and they fly away with him. She like stops Soul from just killing him, so that like he doesn't have like the weight of doing that on him, even though like he had just decimated his entire party, made up of his friends, of people he trained, of people he cared about, even though you're not supposed to care about people or have attachments as the Jedi. She obviously does. They obviously do. Like, that's a recurring point that you're not supposed to have attachments, and all the characters seem to anyway. But she's like, no, don't kill him. Let the moths kill him. And I just thought that was a very stupid moment. There's a lot of situations where people are just left, passed out or hung up or flying away with moths in this dangerous planet. And it's, if a character is left for dead, it's not that different than just killing them, like it like leaves room for a plot, but in all practicality, I mean, I understand these characters are tough to see seasoned fighters and they should be fine, but still it's very disingenuous. Some other things that I didn't like about the episode was the sisters have a reunion, and the actress doesn't really do the best job at distinguishing between the two characters. There's a point where they're hugging and crying and kind of talking, and I can only tell because of the hairstyle which character is even talking. And then then the character gives herself, May gives herself a lightsaber haircut, so now she looks like Osha. And like she goes back to the ship with Soul, supposedly to escape to Coruscant, where I guess that's where the next episode's going to take place. But it's her performance is so wooden and awkward, where she's trying to like let let the audience know that something's up and that she's not who she says she is, and and then they go back where like Khmer finds Osha laying on the ground thinking that it's May, but she's got, they've got the tattoos. It's like, no, arm tattoo is Osha, head witch's mark is May, and that's the way that you can tell them apart now, that it's the same actress with the same hairstyle and the same delivery a lot of the time. It's like she's slightly more tortured as May, but like in a single line of dialogue, it's kind of hard to get that across. I don't know that it's the actress's fault as much as the writing. There was a lot of lightsaber fights and everything like crammed into the episode, and then they just try to kind of rush their reunion. It just feels like so much of the relationships and character development and everything happens off screen, and you're just supposed to trust it. That even like this episode, hours into the series at this point, I don't know the characters. Like, I didn't care when Jackie or Yord or any of the yellow shirt because they're just generic Jedi robes. I didn't care about them as characters. It you know like the show treated the characters as disposable. So like it's hard to it was hard to care, and that's a shame because there should have been more weight to their deaths, right? But I mean, every single like character so far that has died on the show has been introduced to die. Like they get barely any screen time, zero development, a few lines at best, and that was only for the handful of named ones. Just um everything is so like well done. There's lots of cool lore references. There's lots of characters from like other stories showing up, and there's lots of stuff, you know, like kind of behind the scenes. But like what's actually being shown is just awkward and bare bones and just really disappointing. And again, like there's lots of other stuff that the discourse about the show is kind of about, but I just feel like the show fails on its own merit. The past two episodes, like the previous one felt like like the fire episode still just annoys me. It's my understanding that one of the two sisters had their mind sort of tinkered with as far as how the events played out, and um that's kind of like okay, sure. Um but like if that were the case, then they made a mistake thinking that the audience were going to trust them to get there because it just was bad, right? If you're going to show us a child's um, muddled recognition or, a modified recollection of the events of the night, then it's weird that some of the other aspects of the show are so handheld, and then something like as important as that could be to the plot was handled so badly, right? There's a lot of I don't know. I I'm gonna keep watching this season. I don't know after that. I I'm interested to see if like something good can come from introducing the Cortosis helmet into the live action lore now. It would be nice if it showed up, I don't know, on the Ahsoka show or or something. Um, it, y- like the toothy mouth on it kind of hinted at that a little bit. But who knows? But I was disappointed by this episode. I thought the last one was boring, and I thought this one was so packed with action that it was boring. Like they really could have changed the pacing. Maybe instead of just like a bunch of lightsaber fights and everything, and then a really slow kind of wind down, they could have interjected the girls just going off and having their reunion. Like earlier, before like everything had happened, and then kind of had the named characters like killed off like after that, maybe like just broke up the action a bit more, might have made it work better. I don't know. I just um there's people that they liked it because of the lightsaber fights. I just feel like they were a little fatiguing. It was too much of it at once, and it was so unceremonious. Um, when characters would die, and Soul, a Jedi Master, left the lightsabers and bodies of his fallen comrades just there. You know, these Jedi fell in duty, and he didn't like give them a burial or collect their lightsabers and return them to Coruscant so they don't end up in the wrong hands. like arming future Sith lords, right? I just I don't know. Again, a lot of the episodes of the show just don't sit well with me, and it's disappointing because it's it's a big budget, and with so much of the expanded universe lore and characters trickling in to the show, it feels like it really could have been something special, and I guess that's what makes it such a letdown to me. What did you think about it? Take care.